Hey everyone, welcome to the Leader's Edge. I'm your host, Steve Steele, where we dive into insights and principles that we will supercharge your leadership and ignite your personal growth. Whether you're a budding entrepreneur, a leader navigating change, or a seasoned pro, this show is for you. Each episode is packed with practical strategies designed to elevate your mindset and amplify your leadership impact. Get ready for some actionable tips that you can put into practice immediately. And a huge shout out to all of our amazing listeners. Thank you so much for your unwavering support. So let's get started, and let's unlock your true potential. Today, our guest is a retired Navy SEAL and Marine Corps infantryman with nearly 27 years of military experience. Growing up in Texas, he faced bullying and an adversary that nearly drove him to despair. Instead of giving in, he became an Eagle Scout and a varsity basketball player, transforming his pain into power. He served 9.5 years in the Marine Corps infantry before joining the Navy SEALs, where he dedicated over 17 years deploying to combat zones across the Middle East, Asia, and the Caribbean. Despite facing severe injury and surgeries, including a knee surgery that doctors said that would limit him, he achieved remarkable feats, such as towing a 17-ton truck at a strongman event. Then, after overcoming brain tumor and a stroke, he became a permanent athlete at the Westside Barbell. He set 2 state records in the first competition and qualified for nationals, and now holds the title of a national powerlifting record holder. With a BA in criminal justice and a master's in military studies, he's currently pursuing a master's in sports management. And as a founder of Divine Savagery, he helps leaders, athletes, and veterans build resilience, purpose, aiming to inspire others to rise above their challenge. A sought-after speaker and mentor, he shares his raw authenticity and battlefield wisdom, demonstrating that adversity can be turned into unstoppable moments. So welcome from the green room, strongman Tommy Richardson. Oh, Tommy, it's so good to have you on the show, brother. I've been looking forward to this.
Thanks.
Oh my gosh, I've been looking forward to this, and it's just going to be something that I know that'll be a memorable episode for us. So, Tommy, we're just going to really dive in, and I just really want to start talking to you just a minute. Let's talk about your childhood, just where you got started, where you grew up, a little bit about you and how you got involved. I know you were an Eagle Scout at one time, and how you actually got involved into the military and moving forward like that.
Yeah, sure, man. Born in, swamps of Southeast Texas, and slowly migrated north with my father's business, and went to kindergarten through high school up in Denton, Texas, man. It's in North Texas area. So
that's not far from me. I live in Fort Worth, so yeah.
Oh, Cowtown, man.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. Very familiar, and the racetrack out there and everything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. Very familiar. But yeah, man, it was an interesting time growing up. I was blessed with height immediately, and not with width. That came with time. Mm-hmm. And with that, I was kind of a lightning rod for bullying, that and the way I dressed, and had the Coke bottle glasses, suspenders, stonewashed pants rolled up to way too high, and monstrous feet with just real skinny body, and it was bad, man. So back in the day, it wasn't just turn the computer off and the bullying stops. It was everything was live and in color.
Yeah.
So you find yourself beaten, battered, bruised, nearly drowned, and
yes,
pretty much all different types of areas, to the point to where you kind of feel like I don't feel like being around here anymore, and what really do I have to offer? And find myself at the wrong end of a gun barrel, and
really,
that was the first time. Yeah, man, it's the first time I actually heard I was too dumb to realize it at the time, but it's the first time I think the good Lord was talking to me. But just as I was taking the slack out of the trigger, man, I heard an audible voice say, "Stop, wait, don't do it. I've got something for you."
Wow.
So it scared me to death. I put the weapon down and embraced the old Marine Corps adage of the beatings will continue until morale improves.
Wow.
So, went back at it, man, and kept hooking and jabbing and doing the best I possibly could, trying to figure out, one, what that voice was, and two, kind of what the life's course direction was for me.
Now, how old were you about this time, Tommy?
I was about 14 at that time.
14.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy. Took it on the bullying and everything. And then, resulting into a point where you just said, you just gave up, and then you heard a voice.
First and only time. I didn't quit. I almost did.
Yeah. But then you heard that voice, brother. Something inside. Inside. Wow.
I wasn't inside. I heard a voice, man.
Right? Did you really? That's awesome.
That's why awesome. I said audible. Like, I heard it.
Wow. That's crazy. That's amazing. So what happened after that?
Well, like I said, I just kept pushing, man. And instead of running away from the fights, I kind of ran towards them. Took a lot more beatings, but started martial arts, got a little bit of confidence. And then junior, senior year, high school, kind of really started fighting back, and started, putting a couple in the W column. And
really?
People started to leave me alone. So
wow.
It started to work. And then, it just with the family being in military and whatnot, that kind of seemed like the right way to go. So that's the direction I headed if I figured I was going to get some sort of respect.
So your dad was military, or your mom?
Neither. I had one of my grandfathers was a merchant marine, World War II era, and my other grandfather was a orthodontist in the Army.
Is that right?
Stateside, yeah, during World War II, and then I had two uncles that were Marines.
Yeah, so I came from a military family too. I had my dad was in the Air Force. I had an uncle that was killed in the Korean War, and I had a great great grandfather that was in the Civil War. Sure. So it's like, so I come from a long military standard and background as well. So I understand that calling, because I've always felt a very strong patriotic heart, inside me. So I understand that. So got out of high school.
Yeah, got out of high school, went to college, and then during college, that's when I joined up and joined the Marines.
Okay, then that's when you became actually an infantryman, right?
Yeah, that's when I was moving that direction. Yeah.
Now, did you have a reason why the Marines and not another branch?
Well, I mean, that was always, it was one of those, like I said, I was kind of chasing respect, and that was where kind of the Captain America of the family went. And I was like, all right, well, first to fight. Always heard great things about the Marines, and those being the ones. So I was like, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to head that direction.
Okay. All right. So now we got you from being bullying as a kid to starting to fight back when you was a teenager. Now we got you into college, and you're moving toward, college age, moving into to the infantry and the Marines.
Yeah.
So how does that look for you when you started that?
I mean, it was interesting, man, but it was one of those deals where I kind of found my calling. Academia wasn't my strong suit at the time, because I really didn't apply myself, but I grew up hunting as well. So shooting and field skills are kind of where I, found more of my niche. And moving towards the infantry was a lot better. My uncle, the one that we talked about, went intelligence, but during entry-level training, I kind of made the decision. I was like, I'm going to push towards my own path and start trailblazing. So that's when I was like, look, man, if something goes down, because this was pre-9/11, so, something goes down, I want to be in the fight first.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Did you have any consideration when you joined the Marines that you were going into battle? Did you have that in your head?
Well, I mean, you don't join the Corps to sack groceries, man. So if something was going to be there, I knew I was going to be there. Yeah, if something was going down, I knew I was going to be there.
And of course, you said 9/11 hadn't even taken place yet. So It's like, okay, then 9/11 hits.
Giddy up.
And the world changes, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was
wow.
A little different view, man. But hey, it was like, all right, boys, we're in it to win it.
Okay, so was that when you were an infantryman?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where did they deploy you? Where did that go to?
Well, the Corps kind of had a little bit of restructuring, as I think most units did, because we were diverting so many forces. But it was, not just to Iraq, but also Afghanistan. But there was other threats around the world, and certain elements that were deployed units had to take care of those issues. So there was a threat also that North Korea was going to invade South Korea. And one Marine company has to get assigned to that crew. And that just, we pulled the stick for that one. So I was about a kilometer south of the DMZ in Korea when the invasion kicked off.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about that. What was that day like? What did it feel like to you?
Cold.
Yeah.
Mostly cold.
Yeah.
Mostly cold. It was interesting, man. We were working with the ROC Marines and, just trying to figure out, standard operating procedures in case it kicked off. We got to learn the terrain and the lifestyle and really how to avoid mines, which really helped out later on. But because there's still active mine field from the 50s, all around.
Oh, yeah. Pre-war, yeah.
So that was there. But, going past, driving or walking past bridges with the surface to air missiles, underneath the cargo netting and everything was interesting. And then watching the war kick off and actually happen on AFN, the channel, the Armed Forces Network. And then once we started seeing the names scrolling of the dead bodies, that's kind of when of the folks. And then we started seeing names that we recognized. It was an interesting feeling. It was just one of those things where it's like, look, this is cool and all, but like we need to get over there and, do our part.
Yeah. So you're deployed in Korea, or South Korea. So you're deployed right to the DMZ.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So when everything started happening, how long did it take for you to move out of that and get over to Afghanistan or wherever it was you were going?
Well, there was after Korea, the Philippine op came up, and Abu Sayyaf group had some stuff going on there. So that was the triple canopy fun in the rain and the muck out there. But then we got back from that deployment. We actually got extended on that first one from 6 to 9 months. Because of the rotations and everything. And then we got back, we got put on what was called alpha increment, because it's just a rotation of a Marine battalion that's ready to deploy and have at least initial boots on ground within 24 hours. And I think the whole battalion within 72. It was like the last day. And then that's when Haiti in early 2004, Operation Secure Tomorrow kicked off. And I was the first on the deck there. So that happened. So actually, it was kind of a good warm up for doing urban fighting down there, going against the Chimere. It was a good warm up for the follow on deployment, which we got back, and then a couple of months later, we find ourselves in Fallujah, and then we were in the fight.
You were in the fight then at that point. Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. See, and for folks that don't have any idea what that feels like, what that looks like for me, I have no clue, Tommy. I mean, I actually have no clue. And when you tell me a story like that, it's like it's so fascinating to me, because there are men who have the courage to go out and do that. And you were one of those kind of men. Tommy, what were you learning about leadership during this time? And you're not in the military all that long now at this point, right? You're like, what 3 or 4 years in at this point, or?
Yeah, a little longer, about 6.
Okay, about 6 years in. Yeah. What were you learning about leadership, and what did that look like to you?
Oh, everything. I mean, the Marine Corps is a phenomenal institution about training leaders from day one. And I think their schooling and the way that they go about it is, I mean, you can't get any better than that. I mean, just based off what I've seen when working with the other forces and talking with them about how their programs go, and, all of the different schools that they have for guys to ascend to the next rank and everything. I think the structure that the Marine Corps has, both on the enlisted and officer side, is absolutely phenomenal. It's an incredibly professional organization, and they really, really understand, even through all of the points of leadership, through culture, they understand how to do it all, and they do it in a very, very good job.
Wow. Yeah. So now you're over in Fallujah, and you're getting ready to face battle. I mean, you're going into the fight. It's getting ready to happen. Yep. Can you tell us what that was like when you first got your first orders to really get into the fight?
Oh, the orders? Well, I mean, the thing is, I'd already kind of been in a fight. I've been in a couple of fights already. Yeah. So it was just like, but now you're going to the big fight,
the big fight. Yeah.
And it was what do we call it? Nervous-sided, where there's a little bit of nervousness, but at the same time you're excited because you're going to go out and do
Do your job.
What it is that what you're there to do.
Yeah.
And you think about everything about what it's going to be like, and you have all these ideas in your mind, and it's, hey, do I prepare properly based off of what I've learned? And then it's, oh my gosh, do you read enough? But the thing is, you can really never do enough. But I think with just like with anything, the more experience that you get, the more that you learn. But in the beginning, if you have a good mentor and if you've read and studied whatever your profession is, the more that you know going into it, the better off you're going to be in the long run, and especially initially.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to get into it. We got about 4 minutes till we have a break, Tommy. So we're going to talk about this briefly, but you're in the fight now. It's the big fight. You're in the battle. You see all this stuff on TV, Tommy, all the time, right? And you see, how I see these, shows, SEAL Team and all that kind of stuff, and watch these. But is it really like it is? I mean, what is it?
Truth is stranger than fiction.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the thing is that you have to look at purpose, right? I mean, the purpose of television is entertainment. It might be education a little bit, but it's primarily entertainment. It's about money. It's about the picture grab. It's not reality.
Right.
But the reality of it is that it does damage. It is incredibly severe, incredibly serious, and it's not something that you think it is. It all everything's fun. It's all fun and games until bullets start flying in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Or the first explosion goes off and goes, oh my gosh, this is real. Then everything that you thought it was, you learn what it really is, and then that, oh my gosh, I'm not ready, comes up, and then I'm going to do the best that I can, fall back to training, and then every time after every mission, there's lessons learned, after action, hot washes. What did we do wrong? What can we do better next time? What is it that worked? What is it that didn't? Which really spawns a lot of innovation as well.
Oh, I imagine.
I mean, at the time, we didn't even have up armored vehicles. They were all thin-skinned vehicles, and the only thing that was armored was the plate glass. So we had to monster garage a whole bunch of different things. Like they didn't even have the turrets, right? So we were some of the initial units to actually weld stuff onto the vehicle to where it looked like Mad Max. But through all of the innovations that we came up with, that then led towards the next generation of equipment that was to come out to help the other guys.
Absolutely. Tommy, I imagine when you're in that kind of fight and the bullets are flying and the bombs are going off and things are happening next to you, your mind just goes into a different place, into a different world. And for people who've never been there, have a hard time understanding what that feels like and what that looks like. We're going to get back into this in a minute because, Tommy, I know you were injured, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of your injuries, and then we're going to move forward from that as we go into the next segment. So I want to make sure that we have time to talk through that and kind of talk about what happened to you, and because I know there were several injuries, there were several different things, and I want to kind of get into that. But the biggest part about it is how you overcame it, and we're going to get into that as well too. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll return back to the Leader's Edge. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Steve Steele, and I am a speaker, coach, and facilitator for the John Maxwell Leadership. And what I'm going to present to you today is the 5 focal foundations of communication.
So let's talk about the paralanguage foundation gap that exists.
You're going to be involved in helping to identify the tools that you want to use or need to use in your business.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele, your host, with our special guest today, Tommy Richardson. All right, Tommy, when we left for the break, we were talking about some of the combat that you were in. Can you tell us, is there a particular story out there that that you remember that really made a huge impact when you were in combat? And maybe, I know you had some injuries in your life as well. Can you kind of chat with us a little bit around that? Because I want to get into the overcoming of all this too.
Oh, sure. I mean, it's always the first of everything. That everything's kind of, live and in color, and this is actually going down. I've got so many stories, man. It's kind of tough to pull from, but I would say landing in Haiti was kind of a big one, because it was the first time we ever did a combat landing, and the bird was taking shots on the way in, because we were on a gigantic C-5 plane with the gun trucks all chained down and everything like that. And the funny thing is, we didn't even get briefed that it was, the airfield at Port-au-Prince was hot until we got in there. And of course, why would they? Because it's a 4-hour flight from where we were at, so they wouldn't know. But we didn't even prepare, and we had never even trained for a combat landing. More or less, we didn't even know what it was. And we just heard over the loudspeakers, "Hey, stand by. We're about to go in for a combat landing." And then they said, once we hit the deck, you got 2 minutes and we're out. We're like, 2 minutes? I've never in my life seen a C-5 move that fast, because it's a monstrous plane. And then as soon as we look at each other and go, wait a minute, he said combat, and then the plane just took a freaking nosedive.
Is that right?
We're holding on to each other going, what the heck is going on?
Wow.
And then it's like to just hit the air brakes, and then it just goes boom. And after all of our spines realigned, the chains, we hit so hard, the chains actually popped off the vehicle. And then you start hearing tink, 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 tink. And then they lower it. And it's like, those ain't fireflies. Those are butterflies. Giddy up. And then, it's fight your way into and take over and seize the airfield. So it was just one of those things where it was like, there wasn't really a warm up. It was just, we went 0 to 1,000 miles an hour right out the gate. And that was just, whoa. So that was kind of a big adjustment.
How did your mind wrap around that? I mean, you just do it.
No, it's just do it. I mean, just like the Marine Corps says, man, it's do or die, right?
Yeah.
So you just do it, because what's the other choice? You're going to die, or die. So, all right, man, we're doing all day. Let's do it. Let's get after it.
Wow. When was it that you had your first injury?
Shoot.
Well, let me ask you this. Maybe I should ask you this first. When did you go into the SEAL program? Because I know you're a Navy SEAL, and that's impressive. Sure. And I know that's a lot of hard work. Maybe let's get into that first. A
little bit. Yeah. That was 2007.
Okay.
I made the switch and did an inter-service transfer over into the teams. And then went on. It was after my second deployment with the teams is when the I guess the wheels started falling off a little bit, and my body started to get some dings. Knee surgery was first. Then
was that because of an injury that you had on the battlefield?
I think it was just, they like to say wear and tear, and then finally it's just the bow breaks. The dam can only leak so long and take so much pressure before it's time to, before it breaks down, which then that kind of leads me into what I'm doing later, in that you can actually bulletproof your body a little bit better. And a lot better preparations could be made to get guys right. That comes obviously with a mindset, but then it comes with the knowledge of, the biomechanics and how to build a human body. So, the knee hit first. That was one of the deployment after my second Afghan deployment in the teams. Then I was on the Arabian Peninsula when my shoulder decided to give out. And then that was three surgeries in one after that deployment. And then the big one after that is when I was, probably, 5 years from retirement. That's when they found the tumor and a cyst in my brain. I had to have brain surgery. So
wow. So you never did have any combat injury, as far as?
No, I mean, a little bit of shrapnel. But I mean, as far as I haven't directly been. Hit by a ricochet, but who counts that? And then a little bit of shrapnel here and there. So nothing really. Okay.
So, wow, that's crazy. That's amazing to me that you went through all that. Now, Tommy, why the SEALs? I mean, honestly, isn't that an upgrade? I mean, isn't that really an upgrade going
in mission set? I always say it's like a toolbox, right? So I set the sledgehammer down with the Marines and picked up the scalpel for the teams.
Okay. Wow. Some more precision. more just smaller team,
Different mission. Yeah, little bit different mission.
missions.
Yeah.
Wow.
A little bit more. a
little bit more mission.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tommy obviously shot back, and you had the enemy. How did that affect you when you were shooting at the enemy and you knew you were that possibly soldiers would be killed because of it?
My guys or their guys?
Their guys.
Relief. Are you kidding
Is that
me?
right?
I'm doing my job, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No issues whatsoever.
That's good. What about your guys? When your guys went down,
it's you struggle with the whole vengeance piece afterwards, and where to, and realizing, and it depends on where you're sitting with the Lord too, right?
Okay, yeah.
Because vengeance is His, not mine.
That's right.
But he says, pray for your enemies, but He didn't say pray for His enemies, right? So, but at the same time, you cruise into Romans, and it basically that's our letter that we're sanctioned to do what we have to do to eradicate evil.
That's right.
So it became a simple good versus evil, and that was it was the cause. And evil man equals dead man, or evil person, because it might not necessarily always be a man.
That's right. I remember someone telling me one time that evil will prevail when good men do nothing.
Yeah, it's a famous quote.
Yep. And so it's a beautiful thing to say and a beautiful thing to know. So Tommy, okay, so now I'm going to get into something. We got a little bit about your background, a little bit about your history as being in the SEALs. So let's kind of talk about, and you kind of mentioned it already, God became part of your life.
Sure.
I want to know, when did that happen, and what made it, what was it that caused you to turn that direction?
So I was in the Marine Corps when it went down, and I had befriended a very small town pastor in upstate New York, and it was through conversations with him that it was just one of those things where that was the way to go. And got saved, got baptized, and spirit filled, and all that. And despite kicking and screaming, I let it happen, and it was something that was going to change me forever. Not without me kicking and screaming, anyways, because did plenty of backsliding, and not really. You start questioning your salvation during some of the things.
I can imagine.
It's just an interesting ebb and flow, but come to find out that where a lot of people like to blame him, it's not him. The problem's you. Right? And I didn't have the mirror up in front of me enough, and succumbing to the temptations of the world, and not being strong enough in my faith. But it was a progressive thing to get to the point to where you finally, there's one thing saying it, there's another thing doing it, and then there's another thing feeling it. So having it, once you actually surrender, which is odd for, a person, usually on the world level, it's odd being the person doing what I've done, saying the word surrender, but that I think leads to just the power of it, and how phenomenal that Jesus is and what he did for us, because I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for him. Despite me eating crayons and being the chief of sinners that I was, and probably, was chief sinner, who knows what's going to happen in the future. It's just a matter of, the closer I grow to him and go to him, the less I want to do any of that stuff. And the temptation goes away. It's when you start going from him. I mean, that's what is sin. It's a departure from him. Right. And that's the thing is it creates a distance, and it opens up doors that can destroy everything that's closest to you. But when I invited him in, what that brought was armor and weapon system that I could fight on every plane whatsoever, from bringing the spiritual fight into the physical fight, and having seen and gone through things that only come from him through prayer with immediate physical him showing himself and revealing himself and going,
Mhm.
all right, hey, God, I need you here. Boom, he shows up and something crazy happens. Everybody's like, what the heck happened? And I'm like, I know what happened.
Yep.
That type of thing. So it's just one thing after the other. And it's just a collection of stories like that, it's just absolutely unreal. And, I was always going to be one of those vets that was like, I'm just going to talk about the boys around the fire eating, cutting meat with a knife, and then we'll talk about our problems. But, I got during a prayer session later on in life he goes, look, man, I didn't put you through all that stuff for you. I put it through you for everybody else.
Yeah.
So go show them how good I am, despite how bad you are. But you're not, because everything that I did on the cross for you absolves it. And I know you. He remembers my name, but not the sin.
That's right. And it's all about staying in that alignment with him. And that is so true. I absolutely love that. Tommy, I know that you talked a little bit about your injuries.
Sure.
I want to get out of the battlefield thing right now, but I want to move toward you had the injuries, you had to overcome those injuries. Yeah. What were you thinking in your head? And you were carrying Jesus with you the whole time, I'm sure, when you were in those battles and in that conflict.
Yeah.
But I bet you I know anything, when you're laying in that bed and you're injured and you don't know what's going to happen next, God has to come to you really, really in a really different place. Tell us a little bit about overcoming those injuries and moving, because I want to get into some other cool things here in a minute.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the big one is when I broke my pelvis before going into Hell Week at Buds.
Okay.
And went through Hell Week with the broken pelvis. So that was a 5.5 day prayer session right there. And that was the most pain I've ever gone through in my life.
You were your pelvis was broken and you're doing Buds at that time? 5 days of it?
I broke, it was the Thursday before Hell Week started. I broke my pubic rami bone in half.
Did you know that?
The little loop underneath the pelvis, the two loops, your legs connect in. So one of the loops was cracked in half. Because we have to go get medically screened before they allow us to go into Hell Week.
Okay.
And the doc was there. And he that's an interesting story in and of itself, right? So it was a devil doc that was the chief medical officer that has to approve all of us. And they had known, because Thursday I went up to the instructors and said something's wrong. And then they're like, whatever. And I was like, all right, cool. So we had a 4-mile time run on the beach the next morning, and it was the only run I'd ever failed, and I'm limping. And of course, after you're done, you fail a run, they give you a little extra attention.
Oh yeah.
So after that nice little beat down, they're like, hey, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I don't know. It feels like somebody took a jackhammer to my crotch, man. I don't know what's going on. And they're like, go to medical. And then that's when I had the x-ray. So, and that was, Friday afternoon. And that was med checks. And Sunday we were going into Hell Week. So it was like, all right, do you chance taking a medical role or chance getting kicked out? I didn't know what was happening. I sure as heck wasn't going to quit. So the doc, who's a devil doc, right? So you call them devil docs because the medics that are in the Marine Corps are actually in the Navy. Same thing with the chaplains. But they had this pin, a Fleet Marine Force pin, where they have the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor on it. So I looked at I'm like, hey, devil doc, huh? He goes, yeah. And then, we shared a little bit, and it turned out he was 2nd Marine Division at Lejeune. The battalion I was with was same place. So that's pretty cool. And then I looked, and he had a paperweight. And the paperweight was Chesty, the mascot of the Marine Corps, which is a bulldog with the drill instructor cover with the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. And he had that on his desk. Anyway, we were going through my issue and what was wrong. And I was like, all right, doc, we'll take this from a military planning perspective. Most dangerous course of action and most likely course of action. I said, so what's the most dangerous course of action? He goes, you're going to be running with a boat on your head. You're going to be doing log PT. You're going to be doing all this stuff. You're going to be doing surf passage in the rocks at night with no sleep. He goes, if you land on that thing wrong, it could splinter, and then the bone almost acts like a razor blade and could sever the arterial bundle that's in there, and you could bleed out internally and die. I went, okay. I said, well, what's the most likely course of action? And this kind of took me back to Rocky IV. And he goes, you're going to go through a heck of a lot of pain, but you'll make it. Now, I said, okay. So I asked him, hey, what would you recommend? He didn't say one word. He just took that, because he knew I was in the Marines, right? So he just took that paperweight, put it right in front of me, crossed his arms, looked up at me, and didn't say a word. And I looked back at him, I smiled, and I go, all right, I'm picking up what you're putting down. sign the paper. Let's do this. And if he was signed off on it, hey, man, I'm medically cleared to go into Hell Week. And
right.
Sure enough, I was. And I tell you what, from second one, it was just it was bad. But it was praying for protection. It was praying that the bone holds and, I feel as little pain as possible. And it wasn't until Tuesday afternoon that we had our first med checks and I could get a Toradol shot. And they were giving me those shots, and they could only do it once, our med checks once a day from Tuesday on up till, we finish on Friday. But it was only good for 12 hours. So it would be good up until the night crew shows up, which is the worst crew anyway. So that's the one I felt all the pain from. But regardless, like I said, God got me through it because he wanted me there.
Wow. That's a lot of pain to endure.
Once Hell Week was over, then I took a 2-class roll and classed up later on. After
Wow. I mean, that took a lot of courage, Tommy, to do that. And it took
I just lack of brains. That's all it is.
Is that what it is?
Well, it's honestly just faith, man.
That is. Yeah, because that faith and trust that you had that you were going to get. I mean, you had to believe, Tommy, there's got to be a certain amount of belief there too. You had to believe that you were going to make it through that. You had to believe that. More
so, I didn't want to let down the people back home. Because I had a set of twin brothers I grew up with that were SEALs. And, they just, family and all this stuff. And it's like I was still fighting my past. I hadn't let that go. So it was just like, no, I literally put my money where my mouth is. And I was like, the only way I'm getting out of here is that you're going to have to kill me. Wow.
So was that more like a kind of like a turning point for you as far as really knowing your faith and really knowing the dependency on God that you had to have?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was just more proof. Because I mean, there were some other things that happened during buds too, where I probably should have gotten kicked out. I got sudden induced pulmonary edema during a swim. Usually puts people out for like 6 weeks. I was back that next evening, that very evening. And it was just prayer, man.
Yeah. And Tommy, also in that, and we just got a couple of minutes here, but in that as well, you had to have the mindset there as well. I mean, there had to be a mindset.
It's all connected.
I'm going to say it's all connected with spirit, body, mental. It's all connected, right?
Absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit what kind of mindset that you had at that point where you were really, what was really taking place in your mind?
Like I said, it was one of those things where it started with the spirit and then it flowed to the mind. And then, just like in the church, right, is the tail's going to follow the head. Mm-hmm. So I literally put it into my head that I'm going to go until I die, period. Nothing's going to stop me. And with that mentality, it was, okay, now I'm going to take things in little pieces. I don't look at, all right, we're securing, Friday evening. It's all right. What are the tangibles? What is it that I know? I know that I'm going to eat 4 times a day, and I know that the sun is going to come up and go down. That's 6 things that I know are matter-of-factly going to happen. So then you just take it, literally coming up with what's called a plan of action and milestones. If each one of those things that is going to happen is a milestone, as soon as you complete that milestone, good. Not you get a little bit of an uplift. All right, I know I passed that. Here's how many more. I know what's coming next. On to the next one, and one leads to another, and next thing you know, you're done. I mean, how do you eat a whale, right? One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. That is beautifully said, Tommy. Thank you so much for that. So we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Tommy, we're going to talk a little bit about getting into powerlifting and where you did there, and then also talk a little bit about what you're doing today. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll return right back to the Leader's Edge. Are you ready to elevate your organization with a team of transformational leaders? Do you want to attract and nurture top talent while enhancing communication and productivity across generations? Hi, I'm Steve Steele, co-host of The Leader's Edge, and your coach with the Maxwell Leadership Team. My program equips leaders with essential skills and resources to lead, coach, and communicate effectively, ensuring everyone thrives. With tailored insights and proven strategies, I'm here to help your entire organization succeed. So reach out today at growthinleadership@gmail.com or visit johncmaxwellgroup.com Steve Steele. Hey everyone, welcome back to The Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele, your host, with our special guest today, Tommy Richardson. Tommy, right before the break, we were talking a little bit about how God played a big part in your life when you were doing buds and when you were SEALs and the injury that you were going through. But Tommy, there were some other injuries. I know that you had an injury, you said earlier, a knee surgery done.
Yep.
And the doctor said after that knee surgery, what?
Well, he told me that I would never lift anything heavy or do anything heavy on my knee again, and I probably should consider getting out of the teams and of being an operator.
Wow. And you said, no way.
Challenge accepted. Okay. I'll show you.
So tell me what you did a year later, brother. Tell us.
Well, so first thing I did is I listened. The person that was in charge of the rehab and the bridge program that got us back online there was absolutely phenomenal. And there was another team guy that had a very similar injury that I had. I listened. He didn't. He ended up actually medically separating from the teams. I kept going. I kept telling the guy, I was like, and even the guy, the trainer was going, look, this guy's listening to us and he's getting better. Yeah, because the thing is that a lot of guys, they think, hey, I've got to get back to the team. I've got to get back to the team. I'm letting them down. Well, the thing is, if you go back to the team injured, you're still letting them down because now you're a liability. If you get hurt, you take a knee, you get right, and then you come back stronger. So I took that mentality, and year later, next thing you know, I'm not only squatting heavier than I ever have before, but I'm actively trying to compete and doing some strongman stuff. And I was overseas and pulling a 17, almost 18 ton truck and on a spy line. And I sent the video to the doc, and I said, don't ever count me out.
Wow. So Tommy, you're pretty strong. You got a pretty good sized body there, right? Okay. Yeah. So when did you start building that up while you were in the military, or did you focus on that after you got out of the military? How does that look?
No, it was during the military. I mean, fitness is always big in the military. Right. Marine Corps has a different type of grunt shape. Is I'm skinny. I can do all the body weight stuff, and I can carry a whole bunch of weight. 100-pound ruck, hike 25 miles, and then go to a fire movement range or hike into combat or whatever. That's grunt shape. The teams, because everything's kind of a quick in, quick out, you still got to be able to, tote the load, and, you might get inserted into 8,000-foot mountains, and then you've got to, hike a couple, 3, 4, 12 miles to get in, same thing. But fitness is looked at from a different perspective because you have smaller teams, but bigger funding, so you can afford human performance teams, right? So with that, therein lies, okay, this is what we're going to be about. Then it also depends on the attitude and culture of the team that you're in. When I checked into to SEAL Team 10, I was given a rifle and protein powder, and they go, this is what we're about. And I was going, all right, giddy up. So, I mean, we had a prison-style gym out in the boat barn, and guys were just, jacking steel and doing their jobs. So that kind of became part of the culture. And that was the culture. So
you're sucking down protein and pumping steel, and you're building yourself up, right?
Starting to, yeah, but not smartly, right? Pride and ego are still very much there and in flux. But had there been an operating system in place for our bodies, just like there is for being out in the field and tactics, techniques, and procedures, the same thing goes for the body. Not just go all in, see what you can do, and then rush out, and all of a sudden you're going to be jacked and ready to roll. So a lot of lessons came with that as well. But I started to put on weight in the teams.
Okay, so when you start putting on that weight, then you got your knee injured, then you started pulling a 17-ton truck, send a picture to a doctor, said, don't ever count me out. I mean, this is fascinating, Tom, because that's a lot of overcoming. I mean, it's a lot of overcoming. It takes a mindset to do that and a faith to do that, Tommy. Yeah. I mean, why can't people do that now? Why? I mean, they're facing adversity, but they don't have that faith. They don't have that mindset. What is it?
They're not looking in the right direction. They're looking towards comfort, and comfort breeds weakness.
So go ahead.
You spoke first. Go on.
Getting out of your comfort zone, man. I mean, you got to stretch yourself constantly, right? So
Right.
Let me ask you a question. I want you to be really honest with me. How often do you stay out of the comfort zone?
Daily.
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 Love it. Love it. So that's when people,
like I said, comfort breeds weakness.
Yeah.
And the thing is that we have a community right now, and it seems like almost globally, where the whole goal is to seek comfort, to seek ease. That's not biblical, right? Man is meant to work. And the more you work, the more you're going to see the fruits of your labor, if that labor is honest, right? So the more you seek hard things, the harder you go through stuff, the tougher things that you'll be able to get through, right? And that's the whole thing. It's like, it doesn't get any easier. You just get better. But you won't get better unless you go up against hard things. And people now, they don't know how to fail. And they don't know that failing sometimes, and a lot of times, is not only okay, it's necessary.
Absolutely. I believe that. I totally believe that.
I always tell folks, man, that the way to success is a ladder. You find yourself in a hole. Only way out of that hole is to climb up the ladder. Every rung in that ladder is a fail leading to success, which gets out of the hole. And you can't climb that ladder with your hands in your pockets.
Wow. That is powerful. That is powerful. I absolutely love that. And I know a lot of our people that are listening need to hear those things, Tommy, because it is about that getting out of that comfort zone. You can't live there in that comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is you have every single person on this planet has the ability to tap into the greatest strength there is, and that's Jesus.
Yeah, that's right.
Period.
That's right.
So you start with him, and you put him in the middle, and you end with him. Put him out front, dude. Let him lead your life. I'm telling you, man, you're not going to go wrong.
And oftentimes, it's like you said earlier, and I love this, what you said earlier. When you have that faith, when you line up with Jesus and you have that alignment going on, it's a surrender. I like to call it an allowing. So I'm just allowing the Spirit of God to just move in me and move for me. And because everything in the universe, everything God, it works for you, not against you. Yeah. And even in Romans chapter 8:28 says that all things work together for God, to God who love God, and all things work together for good. So it is just it's an amazing mindset to take on, but people don't live that. They want the easy way. They want the way that, they want the magic bullet. And I often say in some of the talks that I do is that the magic that you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. It's the truth of it, right?
That's the magic you're looking for is in the word.
Yeah, that's right too. But where are you going to get that word, right? And whatever you do, though, Tommy, whatever you said it earlier, whatever you do, it's going to take some work. You're going to have to work. A lot of work.
It's hard. It's hard. So you know what? Suck it up and do it.
Yep. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay. So we had the knee injury. You pulled it. How did you get into powerlifting, brother? I mean, come on. Where did this come from? And how did all that develop? Because
that's the thing, to become a more complete athlete, and I had no place else to go. It's a terrible thing to say for the people that like just do powerlifting, but strongman was kind of where I found my first passion for, where I caught the iron bug, because I wanted something that was going to make me a better operator. Right. I didn't want to just do something that made me, or at least gave me the idea of being stiff and not being mobile and still not being, because the goal is to be a better operator. That's the whole thing. It was just, hey, I'm going to do this side thing that I actually really like. And it's kind of like iron therapy and whatever, but it translated to the job because you're picking up weird shaped implements and usually going somewhere short for time. Well, good grief. That's literally a down man drill. So that's kind of where it went. But after my shoulder injury and I couldn't do overhead work heavy anymore, that kind of took strongman out of the game. So, with that injury also, it had me studying bodybuilding. So talk to a couple of bodybuilding pros and start really understanding how the muscles worked and trying to get, symmetry in my body despite my injuries, and come to find out that it actually increases mobility, and learning a lot more about biomechanics. And then after that, it was like, you weights start getting a little heavier and you're going, maybe I can pick up heavy stuff again. So then it's starting to research, all right, how can we start? What can I do? And well, hey, just you could still go powerlifting. And I was like, all right, cool. Then I, scratch the competitive itch and still be able to build strength. But then fortunately, I find a system that happens to work literally for everyone to strengthen the 6 functions that a human body can perform. It just so happens that I'm using that system to find absolute strength for my body.
Wow. So I got to know, Tommy, you hold a powerlifting record, right? Okay. I got to know, man, how much weight is that?
Why does it matter? That's like asking a guy how many people he killed. Why does it matter?
It doesn't matter, but I think
or like the most absurd question is how much you bench. It means nothing.
So tell me what it does mean, brother. Tell me what it does mean.
Well, what it means is that I'm going to go and compete and try to be the best I can at what I do. Right. And whatever it is that I'm choosing to do, I'm going to give it everything that I've got. Because I want to do that, because I'm supposed to do that. Just like I'm going to give everything I got to what matters most in life, right? First thing's Jesus. That's it. Yeah. Everything else then comes to whatever gifts that he gave you. And you utilize those gifts for his glory. So it's not me winning titles or anything like that. It's all for him to be able to show people what you can do and what is possible when you let him take the wheel.
Love it. So what I'm hearing is this: no matter what you've gone through, and we're talking about you specifically, no matter what you have gone through in your life, every part of it was a journey that you were taking to build up Christ in your life. Because whatever success you have, whatever adversity you had, whatever success you had, is all given over to Christ and given over because he has brought you through it. He only used you as the vehicle to show him, to show who he was as he shows up every single time.
And who he is, period. Because he hadn't stopped, right? Because I haven't stopped. I don't stop. He don't stop. He's going to meet you right where you're at, man. Yeah. And everything that I have, regardless of where I set faith-wise, when I called him, he was there. And that's, you talk about, affirmation, especially in social media today or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, the only person's affirmation that matters is his. That's it. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The things he puts you through and he allows you to go through things, whether you believe it or not, or whether you know it or not, it's for his glory. So if he's going to allow you to do those type of things and you're going to reap rewards, why wouldn't you give honor and credit to the one that gave you that ability? Because the thing is that it's supposed to serve as a testament for those that aren't saved and in the kingdom to get that way, because they can get that too and reap those rewards. And come to find out, the reward is the service. Yes. And then in the end, it's spending eternity with him.
It's beautiful, Tommy. That is absolutely beautiful. Tommy, that kind of segues me into what your mission is today.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about your mission and a little bit about your business that you're working with, and tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. Coming towards the end of my career, I figured out I had to, discover what I was going to do when I grow up. And that's where the idea of divine savagery hit me. It was actually during a really heavy leg day where I'd get a lot of good praying in those days, man. And it was building something to where I can tell folks how God used me and what manner to attack, right? We're chasing divinity. We're chasing perfection. We've been given that example of what perfect looks like, and we're going to attack it in sometimes a very unconventional, savage way. The white D is for the purity of Christ, the white horse that's coming. And then the red S is for the blood that he shed for us, man. And then it's got the trident in there, obviously with the seal background, but the trident is 3-pronged: Father,
Son, Holy Ghost. Gotcha, brother.
So it all fits together, right?
It does.
And then it's in the military, we do things in 3. So it's motivational speaking piece, right? So motivational, mindset, heart set, soul set, everything like that, going and doing the public speaking bit. Then there's the team building and training. And then the other section is, I like to say wellness, the mind, body, spirit, but understanding strength training and bringing strength training and doing strength seminars. also within wellness is protection as well.
Mhm.
So little bit of that, little bit of handgun training and things like that. But it's mostly with the physical strength side of the house. But bringing all that to folks and using God and putting Him out front, and built the whole business for Him to get the word out there to as many people as I can. Tell them that strength definitely touches everyone on planet Earth, and it's definitely not a weakness. So go out and be strong in spirit, strong in mind, and strong in body.
That's beautiful. Tommy, if people want to get a hold of you, brother, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can email me, Tommy@divinesavagery.com. You can go to the website, www.divinesavagery.com. You can hit me up on Instagram at raise.your.horn. That's also biblical. Or you can go to the Divine Savagery. We got one on there for Instagram, or Tommy Richardson on Facebook, or Tommy Richardson on LinkedIn.
Oh man, Tommy, thank you so much for today. This was just an amazing show. I couldn't wait to talk to you and what you've been through and how you've overcome the setbacks and adversity, and you did it with our Lord. And I absolutely love that. And brother, you're making a difference out there. And people, I know that people want to somehow get a hold of you and talk to you, but thank you so much for today. Thank you so much
Appreciate
for today. Yeah. So real quick, on our next week's show, we're going to embark on a really extraordinary journey through the annals of American history with the remarkable Ken Hartley. In this gripping episode of The Leader's Edge, we're going to delve deep into the profound leadership lessons from one of our most iconic presidents who shaped this great nation. Just as a reminder, you can find The Leader's Edge on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, or whatever you listen to your favorite podcast app. If you found value in this conversation, please hit the subscribe button or follow to stay connected. So I want to say thank you to all of our listeners and friends, because without you, The Leader's Edge would not be possible. I am so grateful to have you here and so excited to connect with you next time. Bye, everyone.